Some people may be disgusted by this, but as you can tell, I'm the type of person that embraces weeds. As far as I'm concerned, there's really no such thing as a weed because there's a use for everything. If nature is growing it, there's something we can do with it. We can either eat it, mulching, there's different herbal remedies. There's probably a lot we haven't even discovered yet. Despite the heavy mulching, my garden does have weeds. And instead of trying to dig them out, I try to find ways to use them throughout the garden. Right in the horseradish here, you can see I have these growing. My kid picked most of them, but this is purple dead nettle. Some people use these to make tea. They're a very shallow rooted plant, so they act like a living mulch in your garden. They really don't steal too much from the plants around them. So if you got these guys growing and they spread, it just makes it easier so you don't have to mulch as much. And they're good for the pollinators as well. Check these out. The burdock, an enemy of many gardeners. Not to be confused with the rhubarb. These guys are still young, but they're going to get absolutely massive, and they're going to put out a stalk with these nasty birds on there that people hate. But if you take first-year plants and dig them up, people enjoy eating the roots of these plants. It's very popular in Asian cuisine, and some people actually intentionally grow this stuff. And although you think this is enemy in your garden, check these things out. These things are a dynamic accumulator. The roots go super far down, so it's hard to get rid of them. So instead of trying to dig these up out of your garden, you come in here, just crack these off, harvest a bunch of these leaves, and you just got yourself a nice addition to your compost pile. You can even come through here and use these to mulch your plants. So when these guys had that deep root going down there, all those minerals they're harvesting that no other plants can get to because they don't have deep roots are now within these leaves. So when you put these around your plants and they break down, they're putting those minerals back in the soil. It's not just a comfort, guys. Any of these deep-rooted plants are harvesting minerals from in the soil. Some clover in here by the horseradish. Gonna let the clover stay. This is a nitrogen fixer, and it's also very shallow rooted. This plant's gonna die back in the fall, and it's gonna fix the nitrogen in the soil. It's pulling it up into the leaves. When it dies, it's gonna go down here and give it all back. Evening primrose, gonna make a really pretty flower. They've been growing here for a couple years now, so I let them stay. They have no effect on the horseradish. If anything, I think they help them. They give them a little bit of shade when it gets really hot out here. Anytime you could have a plant that, you know, helps the pollinators out, looks nice in your garden, and you can interplant, you're shading out the soil. It's natural living mulch, and it serves multiple purposes. Bunch of dandelions popping up here in the wood chips. A lot of people hate the dandelions. You know how you stop a dandelion from going to seed? You do this. You take this off. Maybe you let the pollinators go through, then take it off. But this is a good addition to your compost. And what I like to do is, I'll try to pull it up. Oh, didn't get the roots out. It's coming back. No problem. I take all this. No seeds in it. Perfect for the compost pile. All those nutrients that the dandelion is mining up with that deep taproot will go back into your compost. You can use this as mulch around your plants. Do the same thing. Put those minerals back in the soil and shade out the soil at the same time. Or if you got chickens, you can add these back to your chicken composting system. But I guarantee a lot of these aren't going to make it back into the composting system because dandelions are one of the chicken's favorite food. So, free chicken food right there. Chickweed. Good shallow rooted crop. Living ground cover. Living mulch. And good chicken food. Got some stinging nettle growing near the mushroom compost here. Gonna need gloves for this one. A lot of people like to take these and make a delicious tea out of them. These are also really good for your compost pile. These plants here have a lot of nutrients they mine up and put into their leaves. A lot of nitrogen will really help fire up your compost. And I don't know how they deal with the sting, but good chicken food. And like the others, good mulch too. My wooded area here, I have a plethora of stinging nettles, and then these guys. garlic mustard. Very invasive plant, but also good living mulch and chicken food. Chickens are really liking this video. Look at this monster over here, the old curly dock. Another really super deep rooted plant that can access all those nutrients that most other plants can't, brings it to the surface and stores it in these leaves. This is free biomass right here. This plant has not gone to seed. So if you take this, chop this whole thing down, you could throw it in the compost and harvest those nutrients yourself, or just like the burdock, use it as a mulch. Let's go over to the front yard over here. In case you were wondering about my apple trees I grew from seed, they're doing pretty good. Check these guys out. One of the most hated invasive plants there is in North America, the autumn olive. Now, it's a very controversial plant. A lot of people in the permaculture community embrace this plant because it's a nitrogen fixer and it produces edible berries. But for the reason that it's so invasive, because the birds eat the berries and poop them out and grow new plants everywhere, you can't drive down a highway without seeing a ton of autumn olives growing on the side of the road. They basically choke out every landscape. But despite that choking, we embrace these plants as a nitrogen fixer. So there's so many of these guys. I'm gonna go ahead, rip this guy out. You can't really see it on here, but there's these little white spots on there. That is this plant taking in nitrogen. And you can just see what it does to the soil here. Just look where this autumn olive was growing. This is just really nice soil underneath there. I don't care what it is, whether it's clovers, grass, thistles. These are all plants storing nutrients within their leaves. And instead of pulling them and throwing them in the trash, cut them, take them, and find a use for them. Whether it's an herbal use, mulching, composting. As long as you don't have seeds in there, or for certain plants that spread by roots or rhizomes, have those in there, all that top material is great for your garden. Notice how all these different plants live in harmony together. Having a few weeds mixed into your garden is not going to hurt it. Embrace the weeds, guys, because everything has a purpose, even if we don't know it yet. Thanks for watching.